Raven. Raven, you refer to this as though it were a natural disaster, yet further claim it is targeted at the world representatives. Not only is this a contradiction, but it also seems impossible for you to make such an assertion if your guild has no involvement. Raven glares back at Toji, his expression taking on a more sinister front, as if to say he's given up on even trying to hide the truth. The way you have glanced at these creatures, Raven, calls to mind something all too familiar from my own past. It is not unlike how the heads of the Public Safety Bureau looked at me, and now I understand they were evaluating my performance. They anticipated that a half-man, half-ogre such as myself would turn against them, and considered if I was worth keeping around. Of course, I was in their employ, so it was a mutual transaction, as I wished to give a favorable impression of myself. And I hope you do not get the wrong idea from this revelation, Lancelot. I feel no regret or resentment anymore. Not as long as you are here in Tokyo. Not with you accepting me for who I am. Sakimori, you've grown since then. You've matured, both in body and mind. Perhaps that just means I've gotten old. So we have met then. I thought I recognized your face. Perhaps it was when I went around to introduce myself as Sakimori. It seems you were not lying about planting roots here. I just have one more question, Raven. You're hiding something, aren't you? We Guild Alliance members have only just received pertinent intel from a detective based out of Shinjuku. It is regarding a certain figure who has forged an alliance with Michael Amaterasu, the world representative of Utopia. The Rulemaker's chain of command is sacrosanct. As a guild, their information control is second to none. However, should any inquiry be made with any member of the Rulemakers regarding the identity of Utopia's world representative, without fail, the member in question would unconsciously glance up at the stars, if only for but a moment. Additionally, something strange had been observed with one of Amaterasu's personal acquaintances. Specifically, a tendency to indulge in stargazing for longer and longer periods of time. A trifling detail, admittedly, but still. So what is it you wish to ask me about, Toji? Is it about my brother? About Azathoth? Well, I recently inquired with a friend of mine regarding the world representatives I've yet to learn anything about. And you want to know if I can tell you anything about them? I see. Well, you probably already know about the one who's constantly saying things that don't seem to follow any sort of reason. Oh, but there was one thing. Something about reaching something outside of oneself. Way up in the heavens. I don't think that's going to be of much help to you, though. Sorry. All of these are just points, of course. But when you start to connect them together, the bigger picture becomes clear. What was it you said a moment ago, Raven? That every world representative we know lacks the ability to counteract this? You also specified that the Game Masters help maintain the game here in Tokyo, if I am not mistaken. I don't quite understand, Toji. Oh! It's all coming together now, Toji! So do tell, if you would be so kind, from the perspective of an admin charged with ensuring the continuance of this game, If all remaining world representatives are unable to withstand this high-altitude attack, how will that affect its outcome? Will the last world representative standing take home the trophy? Somehow, I doubt the administrators would accept such a win. That leads me to believe you are well aware of which players in particular can see this onslaught through to the end. And the horse you have bet on will no doubt elect to continue the game rather than accept such a hollow victory. So, Commissioner Raven, although the scheme I have outlined here is petty, I believe it to be the truth. Is it?
Well, it's not petty, at least. We're doing what we have to do, and there are still many things I'm not at liberty to say. Such as my true name, or the name of this sword. And I hope you're ready to face that sword head-on, little chickadees. I've grown used to playing the heel since my days back in the old homeland. Strike 'em down, sharpened senses.
Arthur is a human king, praised far and wide, held to the same standard as Solomon throughout the world. The story goes that when he freed the sword from its seal, revealing himself to be the once and future king, he understood everything.
I see. Someone had to be chosen for this.
As long as there's a hierarchy, there must always be someone at the bottom of it. And by that same token, someone must be chosen for the very top as well. Even if as many people as there are stars in the night sky should play rock, paper, scissors over and over again, there would eventually be but a single winner. Yet with the odds of being chosen so low, many who were not chosen would inevitably find it hard to believe that this one person could come out on top. "Cheater!" they'd proclaim. Others would then come to his defense. "He's the chosen one," they'd say. "It's his destiny to be king." The truth of Arthur's selection, however, is much less grandiose. There was no cheating and no destiny. It was simply luck of the draw. If one were to place a number of apples in a row, there would always be one that's the biggest and one that's the smallest. And that's basically all that happened here. The biggest apple of the bunch was heralded as the hero of legend, and rumored, without warrant, to be the bearer of an impossibly mystical fate. Of course, no one would ever outwardly decry these claims. Imagine what would happen if they did, and if people took these truths to heart. They would lose their hero, and their land would die out. And besides, what harm did it do for people to believe in him? He knew well what needed to be done as king. And so Arthur accepted his title as the one chosen by the sword. He was granted immortality and regarded as a god by his loyal subjects. One of his first orders of business was to appoint knights from far and wide to help him maintain stability in his kingdom. These would become the highly accomplished Knights of the Round Table. These same knights heralded the end of his reign as well, when they were ultimately disbanded, as they inevitably would be from the start. That was it. They say that in those final days, after serving for so long as a vital cog in the system, King Arthur acted as his standing dictator, gracefully stepping down and handing over his sword. Yet even as he did so, the regular mortal side of him couldn't help but wonder if there wasn't another way. With the paradise of Avalon on his mind, King Arthur gave up the eternity he knew and stretched his arms up toward the heavens. And just like that, he'd been transported to Tokyo. Taking on Raven as an alias, he accepted a position as commissioner within the Tokyo Fire Department. In doing so, he earned a role to protect this land, this Tokyo, from disaster, all the while watching over the progress of this so-called game everyone seemed to be playing. Not as a human, but transformed into a crow, he came to join the Game Masters. What I'm understanding is that Utopia's world representative has been in league with the administration from the very start. It's plain as day, at least, that this existence is involved with the base design of the game. And if that's the case, then there's never been equality among the world representatives. Not once since the very start. The boy, very matter-of-factly, breaks the situation down into simple terms for all present, forming his conclusions by working his way backward from what's known.